Hey, my darlings. Unit 7, Lesson 13 today. Math and autumn leaves. The weather in different parts of the United States has a noticeable effect on plants and trees. In warm parts of the country, trees can keep leaves all year long. In northern states, fall weather causes leaves to change colors. People from around the country plan trips to see and photograph the red, yellow, orange, and brown leaves. A fall leaf viewing trip could involve driving through a national forest, biking on a rail trail, or hiking into the mountains. Number one popular park for the photographing leaves in autumn is, I don't know how to pronounce, Macedonia Brook State Park in Connecticut. The Yellow Trail is the shortest hiking trail and is 5/100ths mile long. What is this fraction written as a decimal? So let's look at this. It's asking, what is this fraction written as a decimal? Well, they're talking about this fraction right here. All this other stuff is just there to confuse you and intimidate you. So 5/100ths. So we need to write that as a decimal. So you have your decimal spot. We have our tenth spot and our hundredth spot. So 51, we want our last number going in the hundredths. And that means the 5 goes before. Number 2, the Rogers family is visiting Massachusetts to see the leaves change color. The Old Eastern Marsh Trail is 1 2/5 miles long. The Bradford Rail Trail is 1 3/10 miles long. The Rogers family wants to take the longer trail. Which trail should they take? So, the easiest way to go about this, let's look at this. It's asking which trail should they take, and our information is 1 2/5 and 1 3/10. So I would write each of those as a decimal first. So this right here, we need to make sure we have common denominators, and this is, I won't be shocked if you can't do that on your own, and that's fine. So I have 1 2/5, and I have 1 3/10. We can multiply this by 2, the numerator and the denominator, and make it 1. 5 times 2 is 10, and 2 times 2 is 4. So now we have it, so we can write them into easy decimal forms used in tenths. So let's write 1 4/10. So 1 4/10, and then 1 3/10. 1 3/10. It's asking, wants to take the longer trail. Well, which one's longer? If I look at this, these are the same. So we move on to the next number. 1 4/10 is greater. So they should take the Old Eastern Marsh Trail.
What? Impossible.
Okay. Now the next page. Clarkston Park. Joshua and Lily are going north to participate in a walking tour in Clarkston Park to photograph leaves. Here's a trail map of the different walking trails. So if you look at this, and I love things like this because this is showing this one is 1 4/10 of a mile. This is 1 4/8 of a mile. So it's showing how long everything is. Write the length of the West Trail as a mixed number. So if I go over here, I'm going to go to West Trail. West Trail is right here. And it's 2 9/10. It wants a mixed number. So I'd write it as 2 9/10. 2 9/10. Which trail is shorter, the West Trail or the North Trail? Well, if I go to the West Trail, it's 2 9/10. And the North Trail is 2 3/5. So I have 2 3/5, but I need to turn that into a decimal. So I know 2 is my whole number, so I'm going to do this. Now I need to make it so this is tenths or hundreds. So I can multiply that by 2 to make it 10 on the bottom. 3 times 2 is 6. So I have 6/10. 2 9/10, 2 6/10. So it's asking which trailer is shorter. This is the same. and this is showing the 6 is smaller. So I would write it as 2 9/10 and 2 6/10. And this one is greater. So which trail is shorter? The North Trail. It says write the length of lower trail as a mixed number. So if I go to lower trail, I see 1 4/10. So if we're able to read it, we should be able to write it. So we'd write 1 4/10. Which trail is longer, the lower trail or the south trail? So the lower trail is 1 4/10. And the south trail is 1 4/8. Ew, that one's ugly. So I'm gonna look at this. I'm gonna teach you another way right now. Turn this into a decimal. We know the 1 is a whole number, so we can be done with it. 4/8. We can also just divide, put the 4 inside and the 8 outside. No, I don't like that either, because you guys haven't been taught you haven't been taught decimals, so I don't like that. If I simplify this, I get 1/2. Okay? I can get 1/2, which is the same as 5/10. So, which trail is longer? Well, if I write it out, 1 4/10 and 1 5/10. 1 5/10 is longer. And which one was it? It is the lower trail was 1 4/10. And south trail was 1 4/8. South trail is longer. Write a fraction that is equivalent to the length of the north trail. North trail is 2 3/5. So you can't see what I'm writing, I'm sorry. 2 3/5. So I can actually keep the 2 and 3/5. We can take any number we want to, multiply it by the numerator and the denominator, and that's going to be equivalent. So you could do 5, you can do 2, you could do 3, you could do 4. I'm going to do 3. 3 times 3 is 9. 5 times 3 is 15. So I could do 9 over 15, and those are equal to each other. Use the number line below and the benchmark numbers to name the trails whose length in miles is represented by each point. Woofdom. Okay, so let's start with which ones we see. So which one is 1 1/2? Which one is 1 1/2? So if I go over here, I believe we said 1 4/8, because we know that's not 1 1/2. We know that's not. That one maybe 1 1/6, I think you guys can know. 1 1/3, that'd be 0.333, and 1 4/8. So I'd say 1 4/8, because 4 is half of 8. So south trail is D. So we're gonna come up here for D and write south trail. And I'm also gonna cross it off so I don't need to see it anymore. Now, let me zoom out. Oh, I need to bring this up so you can see it all. So now let's look at the next one. 2 1/2. Well, I have, interesting. Use the line below. Oh, 2 1/2 is not connected to anything. I see. I lie. So let's look at this. Now let's start placing them. I have 2 9/10, which is 2 1/2. 2 9/10, that's almost a 3. So it's one of these two. So I'm gonna write 2 9/10 just to remember. And then I have 2 3/5. So that's greater than 2 1/2 too, because 2.5 is half of 5. So I know it's these two, but I need to find out which one's larger. So if I took this and made the fractions both have a common denominator 10, I'd multiply that by 2, and it'd be 6/10. Well, the 9/10 is greater than the 6/10. So where I'm going to write 2 and 9/10 right here, and 2 and 3/5 right here. And now I know I told you never to erase, but I'm erasing. So I can fill that in. The 2 and 9/10 is the west trail, so G is west trail. And F is 2 and 3/5 with this north trail. So now we're going to come over here. I need to find out which ones are less than 1/2, in between 1 and 1/2, and which one of them is greater than 1/2. So to help me out, I'm going to scribble out the 2 we just did. So the fractions I have left is 1 and 3/5, 1 and 1/6, 1 and 1/3, and 1 and 4/10. 1 and 4/10 we know is less than 1 1/2, so we know that 1 and 4/10 goes somewhere over here. I'm going to so help you out with some of this because we have not learned how to use decimals and divide it. And this also, this one I can round easily, but this one's more challenging. Same with 1 and 1/3. So this I'm gonna help you out a notch with. But 1 and 3/5, if I took 1 and 3/5, I want to find a denominator 10. So I'd multiply by 2. I have 1 and 6/10. That's greater than 1 1/2. Because if I turn this to a 10, that'd be 5/10. So this right here, 1 and 3/5 goes to E. 1 and 3/5 is upper trail. So E is upper trail. Now we get to work with these ones that I don't like very much for you guys, and I think it's pushing what we should be doing, but that's okay. We are going to challenge ourselves. So we have 1 and 1/6 and 1 and 3/5. So 1 and 1/3 and 1 and 1/6. Now some of you might have a calculator at home, and if you have a calculator, which I'll grab out my nifty over-the-top calculator. I know 1, this is showing me 1 whole. But now I need to find out what 1/3 is. So I took 1 divided by 3. It's decimal 3333333. So I could just do 0.33. Now 1 divided by 6 is 1600ths. And it keeps going. So I'd write 1 and 1600ths. So if I look at this, these are all the same. 1 and 1600ths, that's A. 1 and 1600ths. So that'd be 1 and, that'd be 1 and 1/6, which was mid-trail. So mid-trail goes right here. Then look at the next number. That's smallest, and that'd be the 3, which is 1 and 1/3, which is the east trail. And then the last one would be lower trail. If you did not understand 8, do not worry, because some of it is advanced and this unit got really tricky. So if you did not understand number 8, do not worry. Some of the fractions in there I probably shouldn't have done, but I kept going. So if you somewhat understand it, kudos. And if you get it, excellent. But if you do not understand, don't worry. That's our lesson for today. I love you and miss you. Bye, honeys.